guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing? I am back again, and I'm making sure I'm sticking to my consistency, guys, because I love coming on here to have a nice little chit chat, have a bit of a chin wag with you all. Before I get into this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, click that button below, and make sure you follow me on Instagram and follow me on Snapchat too. Names are above. So guys, I got great feedback, absolutely great feedback from my my marriage video. How things have been since I've been married. I've only been married for like nearly 4 months. It hasn't been long, so obviously I wanted to give people like kind of like the tea, the lowdown. I got absolutely great feedback from that video, and some, quite a few people actually said that they want more like life experiences and things to do with our life type of videos. And I was like, yeah, that 100%, I definitely will do that. And some of like the younger girls in my church actually said to me, they was like, you spoke about relationships, spoke about marriage, fine, but one thing that they would love to know is about savings. So they actually was like, we would love to have a video that kind of talks about savings and saving money, because when you're younger, you don't realize how important these things are. Savings, credit, good credit, your career path, and so on and so forth. You kind of just live in the moment. You don't really think about how certain decisions when you were younger can impact you as you get older. So they were like, they were like, you should do a video kind of on that, because they definitely feel like it would be something that they can learn from. I am not no financial expert. Just want to put that disclaimer in here. I'm not no financial expert. I don't specialize in finances or nothing like that, or how to manage your finances. This is just going to be my experiences. Do you know what I mean? Everyone learns from everyone, and I'm here to keep it real. I'm here to keep it 100 and 1000% real. I don't have time to be trying to do a video for you guys and not even try and paint it to make it seem all great. I have made a lot of mistakes, financial mistakes, when I was younger, and I had to learn from them the hard way. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely feel like, I hope people and I hope my viewers do take from my experiences and learn not to try and make the same mistakes, just like I've learned from other people as well. So let's get straight into it. Savings. I feel like the reason why I feel like people tend to struggle, and hopefully this video, sorry guys, before I get into it, it's not going to be too wishy-washy and a bit jumping back and forwards, but it's just like I'm speaking from the heart. But my thing with savings, I feel like sometimes people are not realistic about the amount of money that they want to save. I feel like they set themselves unrealistic expectations of the money that they want to save each month, each week, depending on how you get paid, and it's an unrealistic amount. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, someone saying that they want to save £1,000 a month, and you're on a salary of what, 2,100. What is that a realistic amount of money to say you want to save if you're on that kind of salary? By the time especially if you have responsibilities, by the time you pay your rent, you pay your utility bills, you put some petrol on your car, you do stuff that makes you feel great. How much money realistically you're gonna have left? Because you don't want to pay all your bills, try to save an unrealistic amount, like £1,000 a month, for example. Then you leave yourself, don't know, £50 for the next 30 days. That doesn't make any sense. It's that unrealistic amount of money to say that you want to save, because all you're going to simply do is just dip into it each month and take it out because, oh, this has come up, oh, this has come up, and oh, that's come up. So I definitely feel like people just need to set themselves a realistic amount of money to save each month. When I was younger, I used to do silly things like that. Especially I was working part-time as well. I used to be like, okay, fine, I'm gonna save £500 a month. And every month, when I got paid, I would put the £500 in the savings account. But as the month went on, the money I did have left started to deplete. And I was like, well, savings is there, I'm gonna take some money from it. Before you know it, each month you're doing the same pattern. You start to take money from it, and the savings doesn't actually start to grow. So my first point is, have a realistic amount of money you can save with the money that you earn. Do you know what I mean? So think about it. By the time you pay your bills, by the time you leave some money for you to do stuff that you like, for instance, like getting your hair done, getting your nails done, buying yourself a couple items that you like. Realistically, how much money do you have left? So for instance, if you say, okay, I have, after doing all of the things, putting aside the money for the things I need to pay for, my bills, and things that I want to do for myself, okay, fine, I have, for example, I don't know, £500 left, then it's going to be quite ridiculous for you to now say you're going to save the £500. No, you still need to leave some money for a rainy day. So realistically, you should save about £300, just to ensure that you don't dip back into the savings. Because trust me, I've been there, done that, where I stretch myself, be like, I'm saving this money, I'm saving it, I don't care, I'm going to be left with £50 for the rest of the month, I'm going to manage that £50 is an unrealistic amount of money to be left with for 30 days, in my opinion. Then I, end up going into the savings. So that's definitely a pointer. Also as well, another way I've been able to save money is because I've made it a thing, to always have the drive and aspire to want to get jobs and salaries that pay me even more each time. You know what I mean? When I finished uni, I was still working part-time actually, because I didn't get a job straight away. I was still working part-time. Then I got a graduate job, and the salary that it was paying wasn't that great for some odd reason. It was one of those weird graduate schemes. It wasn't a proper graduate scheme. It was one of those weird ones. I don't know why, but it wasn't paying that great. And I was like, they're actually taking piss. This salary isn't that all that. So that's when I knew I wanted to be a contractor. So I went on to do my first contract role in my first investment bank, and I just knew from there that each time I changed jobs, I knew that it was one of my aspirations and one of my drives to make sure I get a minimum of a 5k pay increase. That was something that was something that I was never going to budge on, because in order for me to maintain the lifestyle that I've started for myself, because obviously I like nice stuff, but at the same time I do want to be able to save, and at the same time I still want to be able to do things I enjoy, and so on and so forth. Well, I need to get paid more money, and that's the God's honest truth. I made sure that I got paid more each time. After that, I went on to a permanent role, and I knew, okay, the permanent role has to pay me more money again. But thankfully for me, it was a 10k increase this time. I was not having it, guys. I made sure I worked hard in each job, so I knew when I was going to leave, I knew I was going to continue to get a great amount of increase in salary. You know what I mean? And obviously right now I'm a contractor, so I earn relatively quite well. And that's always made it a thing for me to make sure that I get those pay increases, which I guess if you think about the logic, the more money you make and you're still maintaining the same lifestyle, the more money you're going to be able to save. Now obviously if you start making loads of more money and you go out and you go, I don't know, rent like a 7-bedroom, 8-bedroom house or something outrageous like that, then go and buy 2 Range Rovers and do this and do that, then obviously you're living beyond your means. But if you're earning more money, you're still living within your means, still living, on the same type of level, and you still have that higher salary, you definitely can save more, which is me basically. And to be totally honest with you guys, I didn't actually really start saving properly until I was 25. Honestly speaking, like really being strict and making sure I saved money properly, it wasn't until I was about 25, 26. When I was in uni, oh my god, I made so many mistakes. Like, I literally spent all my student loan. I spent all my student loan on what? I can't even tell you guys, to be honest with you. I probably wasn't the only person that done this, to be fair. But student loan was like what, about $3 grand or $3.5 grand each term. Tell me what I blew it on. Okay, so by the time you pay for your accommodation, the rent for the halls or whatever, by the time you pay for the accommodation, and by the time you, I don't know, pay all the tuition fees and all that stuff, whatever, the money that was left was a decent amount of money. I'm very sure it was about 2.5k. I can't remember. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong, because it's such a long time ago. I can't really remember. But trust me, I blew that. I was not really smart with money when I was younger. I used to blow money on buying clothes and shoes and stuff like that, which it hasn't changed. It's just that now I can actually afford to do it, if you know what I mean. Unlike when I was younger, I couldn't actually afford to do that stuff, and I was spending so much money, and I had a part-time job too, you know that, guys. And I was just spending a ridiculous amount of money, and I wasn't saving, and I had that attitude of, if I want it, I don't care if it's my last, you know, I don't know, £100, I'm gonna buy it and I'll be broke, which is a stupid mentality to have. So definitely, if you're in like university, you just finished uni, do not have that mentality. That was one of my big mistakes. I used to be like, I don't care if I want it, I'm buying it. I don't care if it makes me broke, you know. And I learned the hard way. I definitely learned the hard way about savings, if you know what I mean. Because I know when I finished uni, I got one of those uni overdrafts, you know what I mean, those student account overdrafts, and I maxed that out. I maxed out. People will not keep it real with you and tell you some of the mistakes that they made financially. I was terrible. I maxed that out. I think it was like, I don't know how much it was, I think it was like £2 or something like that. I maxed that out, and it hit me hard when I finished uni because they wanted their money. You know what I mean? Because obviously there's only so long you can have those overdrafts for before, you know, you have to start paying interest and things like that. And that hit me hard. I was like, freaking heck, like, oh my god, why would I spend all this money on this card and now I have to pay it back? And obviously you do not want to affect your credit. No one has time to be getting charged fees for not paying or late payments and so on and so forth. So I remember I spent about 6 months clearing that overdraft, making sure I paid every single penny off and closing the account down, because I didn't need it, to be honest with you. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay that off. So as soon as I finished uni, I was still working part-time, so I was on part-time salary. I made sure I paid that student overdraft off. One thing you don't want to be is be in a situation where you just don't have any money. And that's why it's so important to save, because if I had savings and if I was smart with my money, first things first, I wouldn't have needed an overdraft. That's number one. And secondly, even if I did have the overdraft, I would have been able to clear it instantly without having to put that burden on myself every month, where instead of that money that I put towards clearing the overdraft, I could have actually put that into savings. Do you know what I mean, right? So it's just those silly mistakes that you make when you're younger, you learn from them as you get older. And as I got older, I always knew having good credit and making sure I saved was very, very important. But I think from finishing uni and kind of, you know, transitioning into really becoming an adult, I was like, you know what, I really do want to be serious about making sure I have a nice amount of money saved in the bank. Do you know what I mean? And it's not a competition. No amount of money you save is ever too small. Because actually, if you think about the maths, like for instance, if you save £50 a month, no matter how small the money is, if you times that by the number of months that are in the year, then times those months by the number of years. Do you know how much money you potentially could have saved over a course of 5 years if you actually set yourself a 5-year plan? Do you know what I mean? No amount of money is ever too small. Don't ever feel like, oh, £50 is not a lot of money. No, it's still something. It's still something, but just make sure it's a realistic amount. Because obviously I aspire to want to earn more, I'm able to save a lot more money a month, comfortably as well, be able to save a lot more money a month. I can actually say, I can comfortably save £1,000 a month and not feel stretched, if you know what I mean, and not feel like, oh, I'm putting too much burden on myself. Especially when I was living at home with my mum. When I was living at home with my mum, my responsibilities weren't as much, if you know what I mean, because obviously I live in my family home, the bills and stuff like that. Obviously you give your parents, you know, a little bit of money, but it's nothing in comparison to what you have to pay for when you live by yourself. Do you know what I mean? So I was definitely able to save quite a lot then. And even now that I live in my new home with my husband, together as a couple, we have a saving plan as well as having my individual saving plan. I make sure me and him as a couple have a saving plan for ourselves and our future children, but also making sure we have our individual savings just for things that we might want to do. Do you know what I mean? In case he want to go off and buy a car, or in case I want to go off and, I don't know, buy a bag. Do you know what I mean? But another thing I'll say to you guys, also have what you're saving towards. Don't just save for the sake of saving's sake. I don't know, because I feel like if you're saving for the sake of saving's sake, you're more likely going to dip into it and take the money out. Have what you're saving towards, whether it's a house, whether it's a car. whether it's a bag or a pair of shoes, it doesn't matter what it is. At the end of the day, you work hard for your money, so you can save for whatever it is that you want to save for, but just have a saving plan. So for instance, if you know you want to save for a house, right? Think about, okay, how much the deposit is for the house. Not only think about how much the deposit is, think about all the legal fees you got to pay. So let's say all of that, for example, this is just an example, all of that came to £20,000. Okay, £20,000, you know you need to save £20,000 in order for you to buy this property. You earn, I don't know, £2,000 a month. After you pay all your money, all your expenses, bills, whatever it is, you're left with, I don't know, £1,000. Out of that £1,000, how much can you comfortably save in order for you to meet your target? Because that will give you a timeline as well. That, okay, if I say, I don't know, £800 out of that £1,000 a month, this is how long it's going to take me to get to the £20,000 mark in order for me to buy that property. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I hope what I'm saying, it kind of makes sense, but it just gives you a bit more structure, and it gives you a time scale to work towards, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You have that time scale to work towards, and you will most definitely get there. Do you know what I mean? Like, for instance, I was getting married. I knew I was getting married. I had a time scale that I had to work towards. That, okay, this is the amount of money I need to save. This is the amount of money I need to make sure I bring towards my wedding, and making sure I stick to that time scale. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And be realistic as well. It's about being realistic. How much can you really bring up as well? Savings is all about a sacrifice. If you're really serious about saving a certain amount of money for whatever it is that you're saving for, you have to be willing to sacrifice. When I mean sacrifice, instead of going out eating luxury, or instead of, you know, buying luxury, or instead of doing things, whatever it is that you enjoy, you're sacrificing. You don't do it anymore. I knew when I was saving towards my wedding, and saving in general, I knew there's certain things I had to cut down on. Like, for instance, I spend a lot of money I spend a lot of money on lunch and food at work. Working while at work, working in the city, sometimes it can be so expensive. I can easily spend £15 a day on lunch, which to me is an outrageous amount of money. An outrageous amount of money to spend on food on a daily basis. Then if you times that by weekly, and if you times that by monthly, the amount of money I spend on food. I knew that, you know what, I have to cut that down. I literally have to take that from £15 to £5, making that sacrifice. Instead of going to Nando's with my colleagues and buying, you know, going to Nando's for lunch and buying expensive breakfasts and things like that. No, I have to try and cut down the lunch, and I'm really terrible with bringing my own lunch, because one of the best ways to save money is bringing your own food. But I'm so lazy, guys. I will not sit here and pretend to you. There were times where I was like, yeah, I'm bringing my own food, I bring my own food. Then you wake up in the morning or the night before and you just can't be bothered. You're just like, oh, I really can't be bothered to bring my own food. Do you know what I mean, right? Then you end up buying lunch. Now I thought, you know what, if I'm gonna buy lunch, I'm buying a cheap lunch. I used to go to Tesco's, buy my Tesco value meal. Sometimes I would go to Waitrose, buy a sandwich, a packet of crisps. I'll go to the canteen at work, get my toast in the morning for 80p. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And start budgeting myself more. And it's not being stingy, because some people are like, oh, you're so tired, you're not being stingy. No, no. I have a plan, you know, and I have a budget, and I have something I'm working towards. So it's not about being stingy or being tight. It's about, I just don't want to spend unnecessary money right now, because at the end of the day, when I've saved my money and I've reached my goal and I'm doing what I've got to do, and the people are telling you, oh, you're just being tight, and they ain't really got nothing going for themselves, you're going to be the person to have the last laugh. So don't listen to anything anyone else says. Just do what you got to do. Don't watch what anyone else is doing either. You got to do what you've got to do. There's certain times, cut things down. For instance, I knew I really wanted to change my car. I knew that, okay, I'm married now, and I do want me and my husband to get another car. And I was like, oh, there's nothing really wrong with the car I have now. It gets me from A to B, you know, it's decent enough. I'm not wasting money on getting another car that's just going to be expensive and have that financial burden on my head. I'm just not going to do it. I don't need to keep up with the Joneses, as in I want to stay in my lane and have my focus and do what I need to do in order for me to get to my end goal. Because I definitely feel like that can be a distraction from you saving when you're living beyond your means. If you start to do and buy things that you know that you truly don't need or truly can't even afford, nah, then that's just definitely gonna have an impact on you. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna have an impact on your pocket. So you definitely need to live within your means and just focus on what you need to do and cut back. For instance, my thing was lunch. I cut back on lunch. I didn't want to change my carbs, so that's something I'm definitely not doing anytime soon. Do you know what I mean? I would only do it if I feel like, okay, that I earn even more now. If I got a new job and I earn even more now, oh, that can definitely squeeze something like that in. If not, no. Do you know what I mean? So cut back on things. Whatever it is that you need to cut back on, try and cut back on them. Even, for instance, me, I do love buying luxury items, but I definitely felt like, especially after like getting married, I felt like I need to cut back on that. It's not something that I feel like I need to do so regularly, because I was doing it a lot more regularly than I needed to. Do you know what I mean? I was like, no. And I felt like I wanted to buy myself luxury things when I felt like I deserved it. I want to give myself a reward when I felt like I've accomplished something, I've done something. I feel like, yeah, that's great. You can treat yourself. I'm not saying that you have to be a miser and not spend a penny. You know, you can still do the things you enjoy, but just cut it down a bit. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, setting up standing orders help as well. If you see the money automatically leaves your account every month, you know that, okay, that's going into the savings account. And it was always good to get a savings account that you know you cannot touch, because the temptation can always be there, especially those times when you can potentially be broke and you're just like, oh my god, I really just need £100 or £200, let me dip into the savings. You don't want those kind of savings accounts, to be honest with you. They're too easy. I've been there and done that, where I've saved a lump sum of money, a great amount of money, and I literally was like, oh, let me just dip into it. Then you dip into it, you dip into it, you dip into it. Before you know it, you're like, what happened to all the money I saved? Do you know what I mean though, right? So it definitely is always better to have a savings account that you can't touch, or you have to be extremely disciplined. Another good way to save, guys, is through Partner. Partner is a really good way. This is something that my big sister, my mum, used to do a lot when I was younger, and I thought, like, you know what, that's something I should actually think about actually doing like now as well as having my savings account, also doing a Partner. Basically the way it works is that, from my understanding, please, if I quote this wrong, please correct me in the comments, but from my understanding, it's something on the lines of everybody pays a certain amount. I think it's like 500 or £1,000. I'm not too sure, I can't really remember, right? And it's like a group of 10 people. Everyone pays it in, and the first month it goes to one person. Then the second month the money comes, it goes around in rotation. It goes to the second person. The third month the money goes to the fourth person, or something like that. I can't really explain it properly, but basically it's like, it's a group of people that save money together. So it's kind of like you put your money into this group, and the funds from that first goes to the first person. Oh, I can't even remember how it works, to be honest with you, but trust me, it's a good way to save. I will definitely try and get some sort of definition up, but trust me, it's a really good way to save as well, because the money is not even in an account, it goes straight to the group leader. Do you know what I mean? But obviously you have to do it with people that you trust, of course. You can't do it with people that you don't trust. It has to be people that you know. Do you know what I mean? But that's a really good way to save. Again, guys, but trust me, savings, so important for the rainy day. Sometimes you learn the hard way. Like, another example where I learned the importance of savings, I never got a job with an investment bank, and I absolutely hated it, guys. I hated it so much. I was so depressed, I was so upset when I used to go there every day, and I was like, I really didn't want to be here. And my big sister was saying to me that life is too short. You know, life is so short. If you really are not enjoying what you're doing, and this particular job makes you so sad and makes you so unhappy, just leave. And I was like, she's right. I was only 22 at the time. I was like, she's right, I'm just gonna leave. I didn't last very long in that job, to be honest with you. I only lasted a few months, but I literally just left and I didn't go back. But the thing is, I didn't have any savings, I didn't have anything, not one penny to my name. Thankfully, I have great sisters, I have a good brother, and I have, you know, amazing mother, and I've got a great dad who supported me. But come on, do you know how it feels not to have no money? And I didn't get another job, guys, for 6 months. I was unemployed for 6 months before I got into my second investment bank, which was a great place to work. I absolutely loved it. And obviously I again, thankfully I went in as a contractor, and I was earning quite well, but I was unemployed for 6 months. I learned the hard way about having savings, because if I saved money, I would have been fine for 6 months. I wouldn't have to kind of, you know, rely on my sisters or rely on my mum to basically give me money. And it really made me feel so low about myself. I was really in just a horrible space, because I was just like, horrible time for me, honestly, not literally having an income for 6 months. Thankfully, I was only 22 then, and I was living at home. But just imagine having responsibilities. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you would never do something so ridiculous like leave your job without having another one. If you have responsibilities such as having children or having a mortgage, or you have rent to pay, or whatever the case may be, you wouldn't do something like that. But trust me, guys, I learned the hard way. And I think that's when I got to like 25, 26, I was like, you know what, I don't like my spending habits, I don't like the way I spend money, and I definitely want to start being a bit more serious about my savings. So I really was strict, and I made sure I saved money every single month without fail. Every single month without fail, I saved money, I saved money, I saved money. And yeah, to this day, I still continue to save, and just make sure I have that backup just in case of a rainy day, because those rainy days can come unexpected. Sometimes you don't know where they can come from, and if they hit you and you don't have no money in your bank account, it is not a nice feeling, trust me. So saving money is important, so important, guys. So yeah, I hope this wasn't too wishy-washy, and I definitely hope you guys have learned from some of my experiences that I've said. I definitely hope that you guys have taken some things and hopefully will, I don't know, adapt them into your lives. And I definitely want to know, you know, give me some advice as well. I'm always about learning new things and learning how to improve myself, especially learning how to improve myself financially, guys. I'm all about that. So yeah, I hope you like this video, guys. Make sure you comment down below, make sure you subscribe to my channel, make sure you follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me on Snapchat, and yeah, till next time, bye.